Shotgun with Charlie.
Riding shotgun refers to the practice of sitting next to the driver in a moving vehicle. The term riding shotgun came around after the time of the stagecoach, when somebody used to sit next to the driver holding a shotgun, in case they ran into bandits. My name is Charlie Cook, and I drive a lot. I like to talk to people while I'm driving, so I interview people in my car while I'm driving. Welcome to Riding Shotgun with Charlie. All right, before we start this episode of Riding Shotgun with Charlie, I would like to tell you that what I need you to do is I need you to subscribe to the YouTube channel. I have been paying attention to the analytics, and I see that I am getting a lot of new people that are watching the show and people that have not subscribed to the channel, so I do need you to do that. I thank you for watching the show, so please, if you like the show, I mean, I get a lot of people that are watching the show, and I need more people to subscribe to it. So that's one thing you can do. That's the easy thing to do to support the show. The other thing you can do to support the show is to buy some Riding Shotgun with Charlie and some Gungram stickers and patches. You can find these at ridingshotgunwithcharlie.com on the swag and merch page. And I have a Teespring store, and the Teespring store is Riding Shotgun with Charlie creator.spring, which I will have in the show notes. And you can buy t-shirts, you can buy hoodies, and you can buy shirts, t-shirts, hoodies, and shirts, and t-shirts and hoodies and shirts.
Are there t-shirts though?
They have t-shirts.
Okay, cool.
But they have mugs as well. So you can get shirts and mugs and hoodies, oh my, at the Teespring store. So please check those out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Today we are in Sioux Falls, South Dakota with Neil Weidner.
Giddy up.
Dude!
How's it going, bro?
Living the dream. Hold on a second. We have some Lead Slingers hand sanitizer. I still have some of this left.
Oh, yeah?
We're going to hand sanitize.
Are we?
2 hands.
I washed my hands yesterday, so I don't know.
You should be.
Oh, that burns. It burns!
Well, you should taste it going down.
All right.
You think it hurts your hands? Wait till you taste that.
I bet.
You shouldn't drink it. Yeah, leadslingers.com is where these guys are. They used to make, during the pandemic, or at the beginning of the pandemic, they started making hand sanitizer, but usually they make whiskey. They make whiskey and rye and bourbon and IPAs.
Are they in California?
Or Oklahoma.
Oklahoma, okay. We went to a place, that might have been the place that they make a bourbon? I
think so.
Okay, I might have partaken.
Well, you probably did partake, which is why you can't remember.
That might be why I don't remember.
All right, let's go. We're in Sioux Falls. Neil is the marketer, the master marketer.
I'm the chief marketing officer.
Chief marketing officer.
I mean, there's like 3 of us, so we all get cool, fancy titles.
Right. You are the best marketer on the team.
Right. I am by far the best marketing guy on the team.
And the team that you're with is?
I am with Active Self-Protection.
Active Self-Protection.
So we're the YouTube channel where John Correa breaks down all the self-defense stuff, and
he tells you to cover your ass.
He does.
Which I love. I think it's hysterical.
We have a lot of fun. It's it's a really cool place to work too. I've been full-time with John now for a little over 1.5 years almost.
Dude, that is too cool.
So yeah, we're gonna go that way.
Good.
So prior to that, I was I used to work in call centers and run. At one point, I think I had 4 or 5 different call centers that reported to me, and we traveled all over creation and did sales stuff. So if you ever had somebody pick up the phone, or you picked up the phone and somebody tried to sell you something.
Like an extended car warranty?
No. Long distance and DSL. So it's been a while. Do they still have DSL? I don't know.
It's AOL and DSL.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding.
Remember the Gateway computer place? The cow-spotted boxes and all that?
Oh, yes!
I was there when the first cow-spotted box went through our shipping department. That was
that's cool.
Way back when, yeah.
Oh, my God.
That's actually where I met with Steph.
Really?
Yeah, Steph and I, we started the same week there.
Who would have thought? This is why people should go to work. You could meet your wife.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, not your wife.
Well, yeah.
I mean, your future.
Something like that.
Someone's significant other.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, so 26 years later, we're still hanging out. We got, 5 pretty cool kids, and then another kid, and so that's a joke.
God bless you.
Did you get that?
And another kid. You got 5 cool kids and 1 ugly one.
No, we have 5. So
I tell people I have 2 kids. I have a smart one and a dumb one. But it's not always the same.
But they get to switch spots once in a while?
Right. Oh, they do switch. All right, so you did marketing and sales for a long time. Ooh, take a left.
Yeah, ran sales centers for a long time. We had the reason we're in this, I'm just some redneck from South Dakota that had too many guns, right?
Sure.
We did a lot of pheasant hunting and deer hunting and that kind of thing, just shooting. I'm not a law enforcement guy or anything along those lines.
Right.
But after we had been married most of a decade or better, I suppose, we had 4 daughters. And we decided, instead of trying for a 5th one, rather than risking paying for a 5th wedding, we decided let's do something
4 is
different.
enough.
Yeah, and we went through the foster care system and got trained on foster care and certified in Iowa. We lived in Iowa at the time. And at that point, when we first got married, Steph made me get rid of all my handguns.
What?
I gotta say that different. She made me get rid of all my handgun. I had 1 pistol because that wasn't a thing for me.
It didn't take long.
But all my hunting stuff stayed. That was never a big concern. But she was not impressed with the handgun.
Really?
And frankly, at that time, I didn't even know what hearing protection was. So I didn't really like shooting it because it was pretty loud. This is like this is almost 30 years ago now.
They had ear protection.
I believe they did. I didn't know what it was. That might be why I'm half deaf.
That is pretty right.
Yeah, it is. That is. But we had it was an interesting thing with the foster care system in that we were brand new to the system, and there was a family that was not brand new to the system. That part's the sad part of it.
Oh man.
But there was a baby that was removed from a family that knew the system all too well, and they decided to bring the baby to our house because we were not in any of the system, and so we would be kind of off the grid per se to a family that had some violence and that kind of thing going on and some not great stuff. And it was all going great, and this is where young Cody joined our family. Made national news when they removed him. They were picketing all over our town way back when. This is 15, 16 years ago now.
Why?
It was because they took Cody away from a family that loved him, and they did. They loved him to death. They just couldn't care for him. That's really all it was.
How old was he?
He was 2 months old when he came to us.
2 months old, okay.
At 2 months, so 8 weeks old, he weighed a pound less than he did when he was born. So
that's not good.
Well, they just that's the thing. They just didn't have the mental capacity to care for a baby. So love him to death to this day. They love him to death. So there's no question there. Just it was a care issue. But
all right, this is a ridiculous question, and if I'm crossing a line, that's cool. Let me know.
Okay.
Do they see him? Do they keep in touch?
No. I am friends with one of the grandmas on Facebook.
Okay.
And every now and again, she sees a picture here, a picture there.
Right.
They don't know where we live.
Wow.
Cody's mother actually followed us. At one point we were moving for work a lot, and she followed us to Minneapolis thinking she might see Cody.
Oh my gosh.
Can you imagine how many million people live in Minneapolis? What are the odds you're going to run into us? But she didn't. But the way the self-defense, the way this ended up with us in the self-defense world was Steph was at home with 4 fairly small girls. I think our oldest was 10. No, our oldest was 12 at the time. Mm-hmm. And the state, in all of their glorious work, accidentally sent our address to Cody's birth family.
No.
Yeah. And it happened right about the time that one of Cody's grandfathers got out of prison.
Oh my goodness.
It was a personal slight on him that the baby had been removed, and so he was coming to get the baby. And there were a lot of things cards had to fall into place, but Steph got word it was happening. And so she knew it was coming. She's on the phone with 911.
Right.
She's also on we'd just given one of the girls a cell phone, so she's on the home phone with 911, on the cell phone with me, and on her other phone with the social worker. And we know they're coming in a blue van. We live out about 3 miles outside of town.
Wow.
And I'm about 5 miles away at work, and so I grab all of my biggest and best friends from my call center, and we pile into one of the guys there, his name was Nick, had this ratty old minivan, and we, like 7 of us piled, and I was the smallest of the bunch, and I'm like, guys, we gotta go, and everybody came out. I mean, just it was kind of cool. When it was time to go, my ride or die team rode, and we were driving about 90 miles an hour down the road on an old, I think it was like a Dodge Caravan.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
With way too many big guys in there. But at one point, Steph told me, she's like, in the training that we do, that you do for foster care, one of the things they tell you is, if the family comes for the baby, give them the baby. They're not going to hurt the baby. That's not your job to protect them. It's your job to keep them safe and support them and all of that kind of stuff. But in foster care, don't put your life at risk or anything like that over the baby. Which in training is like, okay, I get it. And then when a baby lives in your house for about 4 hours, you're like, over my dead body, is anybody taking this baby? You know what I mean? And that's what Steph said to me on the phone. And she's like, I know what the training said, but they're not taking the baby. And I'm like,
so she wish you had still had that handgun?
Yeah. And I'm like, at the moment, I'm like, I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
Now, we had no plan. We had no nothing. Looking back, it would have been easy. All she would have to do is walk out the back door. There was a cornfield. We're in Iowa. The corn is literally head high.
It's knee high by the 4th of July.
On a giraffe, it's knee high. But all she had to do was walk out. But we had no, there was no frame of reference for this kind of stuff. It was you're in an unknown OODA loop, right? See how I threw that in there?
I like that.
But
you observe, orient, you can't decide what to do.
Yeah, you have no idea really what to do, and so she locks the doors, barricades herself in the house, and at one point she said, Neil, they're coming around the corner, and I'm like, oh geez, here we go. And there's one house at the end of a road. I mean, here they come, and we're about a mile away. Right. And of course the cops are trying to decide. We're right on a county line, so the two police departments are trying to decide who should come and who should not, which is great at that moment.
Yeah, that's encouraging.
And so it's a very anticlimactic story in that they pulled into our driveway and Grandpa lost his nerve and backed out and left.
Wow.
He left. We met him about a quarter mile away from the house, and they were driving away. I was on the phone with Steph, so I knew we were all safe and everything's good.
Right.
But that kind of...
Did you guys have this weird moment looking at each other as you drove past?
We did. And of course Nick was driving. He's like, should I pull him over? And I'm like, for what? What are we going to do?
Right. Are you kick this guy's ass for doing nothing?
Right. I guess at this point that would be a bad idea. But
right. And then they take...
and then
you're out of the system.
Yeah, and then they take our kids from us. So,
right. You have one, you have 4 others, we'll take them too.
Yeah, well, yeah. So...
Wow.
The police showed up 27 minutes later.
27 minutes?
27 minutes later. 2 policemen show up. The weird thing is we were... there's a police training grounds because we're out in the country just a couple 3 miles. There's a police training grounds literally a half mile from the house that these guys came from, and it still took them 27 minutes to get half a mile.
Unbelievable.
It was just sickening, and that was a very eye-opening moment for both of us.
No kidding.
At that point, Steph started reading everything she could on self-defense, and and I'm like, as a dude, what do you do? Okay, really, I'm bulletproof still at this point, so let's get some guns and let's get some some training and that kind of thing. Yeah. And it wasn't too long after that she found Active Self-Protection's Facebook page. And it was just, I think, hitting maybe 100,000, fans or likes or whatever on Facebook. Yeah. And John posted something that to the degree of, hey, we're looking for, I need some help moderating. I can't pay you, but if you are a fan of the page and want to help out, you can be a moderator and stuff's like, what does that entail? And
Yeah.
it's like,
You guys you didn't know each other before.
no.
You've
never met John.
Your family trees are combined now, aren't they?
I mean, yes.
Okay.
I mean, our kids call John and Laura aunt and uncle.
Okay.
Their kids call us aunt and uncle, but yeah, there's no relation.
Okay, because I thought you married his sister or something.
No,
there was something like this where I was looking at the names one time and the names were the same, and
nope.
For some reason I got that he was married to your sister.
No, there's absolutely no relation whatsoever.
Okay.
In any way, shape, or form. No legal relationship. No. I'll say that.
All right.
Everybody thinks we're brothers when we show up on video together. They think that we're brothers. And,
yeah.
And I'm always like, well, I mean, if we are, I'm the good-looking tall one. So there's that. But yeah, there's no relation. We'd never met him before.
Okay. So it's totally we're in Iowa,
South Dakota.
So we're in South Dakota, and he's looking for a moderator in Arizona.
Yeah, and it's via Facebook. So really, what he's looking at, I mean, he's trying to keep his page professional, right? And you've been in comments before. So what we see in a lot of comments is some really garbage, nasty comments and that kind of
bunch
thing.
Of trolls.
Yeah, and so Steph's like, I don't know much about self-defense yet. I'm learning, but I know an F-bomb when I see one, and I can delete it. And that was the job interview.
That's the moderator.
And John's like, you're hired.
So George Carlin has these 7 words.
Yes.
If these words are used, delete.
That was exactly it.
Very high tech.
And she just, I mean, she was a stay-at-home mom. I had a good job that allowed us to let her stay home, and it was all good. She learned a ton off of that. Yeah.
4 kids.
Yeah.
5 kids.
5. Yeah.
5 kids and 1 job.
Yeah,
I have no idea what that's like.
Oh, that's a whole nother story. But it's always, to me, it's always been interesting because a lot of times, I'm running these call centers and I've got people working for me that, their household income's significantly more than mine. Mm-hmm. We're going to turn this way at some point here.
All right.
Pretty much any one of these next one that isn't a one-way.
Any one that isn't a one-way.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, we struggled. We had ramen noodle night a lot at our house, but I had good jobs.
I will say this: I think I've mentioned this before on the show. I can't remember, but I am proud to say I spent years as a gigging musician and as a single man. I have never had ramen noodles.
Really?
Never.
Oh man,
never. Because I knew in college, I didn't even know what ramen noodles were, but I had friends that are like, dude, if you have ramen noodles, that means you're poor.
Yep.
So I had tuna instead.
Okay. Potato, right?
Right. Like, I'm not poor because I don't have ramen noodles, but I will eat I'll get a box of pasta for $1 at Walmart.
Yep.
Oh my God. All right, so continuing on here.
So
well, she's looking all at the self-defense stuff, taking out the George Carlin words.
And so it grows and it grows and it grows, and finally John's he gets asked to come to I think it was a USCCA conference and speak.
Wow.
And USCCA, you can turn.
Oh, we're gonna turn left. Yeah. We're gonna turn right.
Yeah, this is the historic downtown area.
Oh, right.
Look at this.
Pioneer Plaza. This is kind of cool.
Yeah. Sioux Falls is the largest city in South Dakota. So there's like 80 or 90 people here, something like that.
Right.
We live about an hour away in Mitchell, where they have the world's only corn palace. So I mean, if you'd come to there, we could have gone and I could have showed you.
Did you ever see Mr. Woodcock?
Yes.
All right. You have Carnival?
Yep.
The Corn Cob Queen?
Yep. Yep. We lived in Wisconsin for a little while. That stuff really happens. They have a corn festival in Sparta, Wisconsin.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, good times. But they revitalized this over about the last 20 years, and it's actually pretty nice down here.
It is kind of cool. We came down here for dinner the other night.
Yeah.
And it looked pretty cool. There's people eating outside, little artsy-fartsy stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to read this, but there was a bank that bank that, I don't know, Wild Bill Hickok held up or something?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Pretty wild.
Not really far from here, just up the street.
Yeah. Oh, look at this. We got into an accident.
Oh, no.
All sorts of good stuff.
Must not be a very bad one, because
right, because everyone's
she's
out
just
walking
getting out,
around,
shaking her head like, whatever.
A bunch of idiots. Oh, well.
Parking isn't that great down here.
So here we are. We are stuck in downtown Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
This is the one traffic jam within 500 miles.
The woman just got out of her car. Oh, now she's running to her car. All right. It doesn't look like they got into an accident. I don't know. Who knows what the hell's going on?
Maybe they're just arguing over a parking spot. That happens too.
Okay. We got the biker dude here. All right. Let's stay focused, Chuck.
Yeah.
Lewis,
so
I do. Wall drug, I guess, is 2.5 hours. I'm not going to Wall drug. I remember seeing the bumper stickers.
It's probably closer to 3.
Oh, forget it. I do remember seeing the bumper stickers. Where the hell is Wall drug, South Dakota?
I mean, it's straight down the interstate, and the speed limit's 80.
The speed limit is 80.
So you could just fly over there, but...
Right, 80 divided by 60. No, wait.
So so when you get to Wall drug...
Is it 3 hours at 80 or 3 hours at 60?
I don't know. It's probably 3 hours at, like, it used to be 65, and then they upped it to 80.
I thought that was really cool when I got here.
Yeah, it is nice.
Like 80.
I went out with a bang the day before they changed the speed limit. I got a ginormous speeding ticket doing 87.
Oh,
now you can do 7 over and they don't really care.
Dude, I was doing 92 on the way to class today.
Oh, yeah.
Not a cop in sight.
People are enjoying the evening, though.
They are, because it's only, what, it is 99 degrees out right now.
Yeah.
99 degrees. Holy moly, man.
Did you see that guy eyeballing your camera?
No, I didn't.
Right over here. Now, the cop drove by and didn't even notice it, but the guy over here noticed it. He was, like, eyeballing us.
I was with a guy one time where I was in Worcester, Massachusetts, interviewing one of my gun instructor buddies, and I got the cameras up, and somebody gave us the weird look, and he's like, "Hey, we're on TV." We're not really on TV. We're on YouTube. Everyone's on YouTube.
Yeah, everybody's on YouTube
really
now. Yeah, that's a bunch of YouTube hacks. It's all good.
Right. All right,
so we go to USCCA.
Yes.
I get to go along as a guest.
Nice.
Because USCCA will pay for John and staff. So John's like, well, yeah, Steph's the staff and Neil's coming along. So,
right. He's the +1.
Yeah. So we're sitting there eating dinner one night, and one of the nights on that, and I'm like, John, where are you going with this whole thing? And he says, we're getting ready to start on YouTube, and I just need I need a sponsor. I need to be able, and he was still preaching at the time, and he's like, I'd really like to be able to preach and not take a check from the church, and preach for free. But I gotta feed my family. Right. And I'm like, well, what kind of sponsors are you looking for? He's like, I don't know, people that are in the industry. I'm like, okay, I don't know any of this industry. If you want long distance, I can help you.
I got long distance and DSL.
I got that. Maybe a little. I can get you some direct TV if you need it. I can even get you a cell phone, but I don't know. This stuff isn't my life or my world.
Right.
And so I was like, well, let's walk around the floor tomorrow. You should point me out a couple of different ones, and we'll see what happens. And so the next morning, we got there a little bit earlier. He had to speak at like 10:30, and we got there early and walked around, and we walked up to the Manus booth, the Manus X guys. Played with the things for a little bit, and I'm like, is this something? And he's like, this seems like something. We should talk to these people. And so he stands there and talks to the salesman and is goofing off and playing the game, because it's basically a game.
Right.
At the shows, when they do it, you're seeing if you get the highest score. And I turn around and I see who is clearly the boss standing behind watching all of his employees. So I went over and struck up a conversation with him, and 3 weeks later they were a sponsor of Active Self-Protection and been with us ever since. That guy is ripped.
That guy, dude, I thought it was the Hulk. He's like the Asian Hulk.
He was green. We'd be in trouble.
And it said walk, but he ran.
Yeah, he's moving too.
He was. I want him to hit my car.
Yeah, my goodness. So
3 weeks later?
Yeah, so 3 weeks later we got a sponsor, and so part-time I would basically drive around selling my stuff. We were back in South Dakota by this time. I had given up the call center life because they were just moving us every time I turned around.
Oh my God.
And, you know, when you got little kids, you're moving from town to town to town. I think we moved like 6 times in 7 years or something like that. It was just silly and always on the road. You know, it was a good job. The money was good. The benefits were great. But my goodness, it was just, the quality of life was kind of rough. So, yeah. So a buddy of mine called and said there was a company looking for help back home in South Dakota where I grew up. And I'm like, all right. So we came home. And while I ran my route around South Dakota, I just basically made phone calls for Aspen, found a few sponsors, and then found a few more sponsors, and then found a few more sponsors, and then we founded our training tour. We call it the Cover Your Asp tour, and so we travel around teaching handgun self-defense stuff.
So you don't know anything about this. What are the steps that you took to start to learn about it? Because I saw you shooting today, and it's putting the rest of us to shame.
I put some effort into it over the years. So my first class, my first class was actually John did this thing way back when. Again, back when stuff was volunteer. He called it Bullets and Bibles, and barbecue. And so he had a range, the Cowtown range in Phoenix, Arizona, and he invited Steph out to help because it was a 3-day event. It's much like our national conference is now. Yeah. It's a 3-day event with a few different instructors. Come in and you're going to teach you some stuff. And so he invited Steph out to help as the clipboard girl and sign everybody in and just manage it and all that stuff. And if you come do that, then Neil can come take it and be part of the class. And so I'm like, oh, cool. So I pulled it. I did everything exactly wrong. All of the stuff that we all tell students now. Yeah. I went out and bought a new gun the day before we left. Oh, so I never fired it. A holster that was less than ideal. Ammo that wasn't great.
You don't have to say Uncle Mike's.
No, it was not Uncle Mike's, but it was one that we don't like much.
Gotcha.
And all of the same problems, and then got on an airplane, flew to Phoenix, Arizona from South Dakota, where it's like a gazillion degrees.
It's 99. What do you mean it's a gazillion?
Well, it's like 150 there.
It's dry.
So it's an oven, right? But we should turn here because we don't want to go this way because I don't want to have to use my gun tonight.
Okay.
There are some neighborhoods that are not that great.
All right. Hi, bud. Hey.
But
I did not bring one. I think I might have one in the car.
Okay. Well, I got us.
All right. I saw you shoot. You do.
Yeah. So, I took that class. That's a fun story for me, at least. Because remember Dustin Ellerman from the Top Shot?
Top Shot, yeah.
So John invited Dustin Ellerman to come guest instruct at this thing.
Oh my God!
And I was a huge Dustin Ellerman fan. I still am.
Yeah.
And Dustin and I have become friends over the years. And he's one of my favorite people for lots of reasons, but lots of reasons other than his shooting too. But we get there, and the very first thing that happens is it's 150 degrees. I'm sweating like a dog. I'm not used to this weather. Life is not great for me. But they do like an assessment. Right. And so you step up with one of the instructors, and you got to shoot a couple of little drills, and then they label you an A, B, or a C shooter. And then the A's and B's can pretty much take whatever classes they want.
Right.
There were some, shooting pistols out to 100 yards, and some force-on-force stuff, and a little bit of advanced stuff. Mm-hmm. And then the C's were like, maybe you guys should learn how to grip a gun.
Right.
And so I'm standing there in Dustin Ellerman's line because I'm going to hang out with this dude because I'm being a fanboy at the moment.
Sure.
And there's this old couple, like 70s, retired couple, because, Phoenix. And they had already been grumpy. They showed up a few minutes late because they misread the instructions on how to get to the class. So they got out of the car angry and wanted to fight. Not fight, but got out of the car kind of angry.
Right.
And wanted to argue about everything. And then during the safety brief, they were grumpy. Jeez. And so we get in line to start doing everything, and right off the bat, the old man does his shooting, bang, 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 and when he drops his hand, he literally swings his arm all the way back and points his gun right at me, who was standing about 10 feet behind him. And of course, Dustin Ellerman jumps up. Hey, you can't do that. What's going on? He's like, well, I got a rotator cuff problem, and I can't stop my arm.
That's gonna be an issue.
So yeah, and I'm like, and Dustin's like, okay, so we have to fix that.
Right.
We can't have you doing that. And I did my very best Matrix move, but
right.
I would have been totally dead. And then she steps up and she's shooting some old revolver that she got from her grandpa, and it broke immediately. And that's where I realized, the whole, if your revolver goes click, you just pull the trigger again.
Right.
If your revolver goes click, the best use of it is as a hammer at that point, because it doesn't. You can't. I mean, I'm sure. Although, yeah, I'm probably going to get hate mail over that.
That's right. I'm a guy that carries a revolver.
Okay.
That's okay.
Well, when they break, have you ever opened one of them up? They look like a Swiss watch.
No, I haven't.
Oh my goodness.
I'm not a guy that can take things apart and put them together.
Yeah, so don't take it apart. I'm a guy that can take things apart. Period.
End of story.
Like, I've got so many things tore apart. I'm like, I don't know how to put that back together.
Oh my gosh.
But,
I was excited when I took the grips off and put some new grips on.
There you go.
I'm like,
Yep.
Look at that.
Yep.
Didn't screw that up. I don't know what all that stuff underneath it is, but I am not touching that stuff.
Right? So her gun breaks. One of the other guys there loans her like a Glock 26 with a holster to finish up the class, and she's still grumpy. I mean, she's an angry lady. Just she
was someone else's gun.
Well, yeah. I mean, and she was just bitter over everything. And so after this guy pointed guns at 2 or 3 people, and one of the rules when you go to a class is no gun handling until you're on the line and you've been instructed, right? And every time you turn around, this guy's got his gun out and he's showing it to people, and his Uncle Mike's holster and all of that. And so at one point, I'm standing there listening to an instructor, and I look back behind me, and there is John and Steph, my wife, and the rest of the staff are kind of huddled up talking. And I'm like, I'm kind of with them because Steph.
Right.
So I go wandering over, like, I want to see what's going on. I'm curious what's going on.
Right.
And I walk up right as they're clearly talking about this couple. Right as John says, well, let's have somebody babysit them, and if there's one more issue, we'll have to remove them from class. And then they all stand there for a minute, and then they all turn and they look at me. Because, they have all got assignments, and how do you say no?
Right.
You can't, I can't, and I'm like, this is my first class, guys. But I'm like, yeah, I can make sure they keep the gun in the holster and don't point it at people. I can keep people safe.
Right.
I've taught enough people how to shoot handle a gun that I can do that. And so for the next 2 hours, I bird dogged this couple, and I swear I told this guy to put his gun away 10 times. What? I mean, he just kept. I'm like, dude, you gotta stop. They're gonna kick you out. You gotta. And he's like, no, and and I would just literally, I could be looking dead in his eye and then look like this and come back and the gun was out.
Oh my God.
It was like it was a compulsion or something.
Wow.
And at one
You're
point,
a young whippersnapper,
right?
You're telling him what to do.
Right, that could be. But have you ever met Dave Laird?
I have not.
He runs a company called DCS Training down in Phoenix, and Dave is another one of my favorite people. This was my first time meeting Dave, and the knife hand that some instructors use. Yeah. Whenever we do something, John tells all the instructors, you got to put your knife hand away. Because that's not how we talk to people here. Okay. We're not screaming at anybody. We're not gonna, the only time we're gonna scream at somebody is if they're pointing a gun at us or something, like that. But there's just no screaming. There's no need for that. People don't learn under that stress.
Right. Yeah, people don't want that.
And all of a sudden, I hear what the are you doing? And I turn, and here comes Dave with the knife hand. And this is the first time I'd ever experienced. I wasn't an Army guy or a military guy. I'd never experienced a knife hand. Maybe for my dad once or twice, but I don't remember those because. I woke up later. I feel like there was a knife hand. But
it wasn't a knife hand. It was a back hand.
It could have been. But he is walking right at me with the knife hand, and I'm like panicking, like, what did I do? And I'm like, no, my stuff's all. And then he walked right by me, and there's the old man again with his gun out.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, I have totally failed. And I am so nervous from this whole thing. It's my first class. I don't know what to do or say.
Right.
And it was. So they kicked him out of the class.
What about the wife?
The wife comes back and is like, we're standing like at it's like a 100-yard range, so we're standing clear back at the end under the covers, and she walks up and she's like, what am I supposed to do with this, and draws the gun in a crowd of people as they're kicking him out. And so my bride Stephannie is like, I'll just take that and just basically disarms her.
Wow.
It was, and so at that moment I'm like, I don't know that I want to do this. This seems crazy.
So maybe the call center wasn't so bad.
Yeah, I'm like, maybe selling soap isn't such a big deal, but I did that too. Anyway, so Steph has asthma, and so I did my very best. Hey, how's your asthma doing? Because I know when we get this dry climate, your asthma, you okay? And she's like, no, I'm fine. I'm like, no, are you okay? I feel like we should go to the hotel and sit in the air conditioning for a while. So we literally tapped out of this class on day one.
Oh my God.
And went to the hotel, and it wasn't, I wouldn't call it a panic attack or anything like that, but I was so out of my element.
Yeah.
Being put in that, supervisory role, I don't know if that's the right term, just it was enough that I'm like, I'm not playing this. Although I have never been a quit guy, so I'm like, next morning we're going back to class, and and then I jumped in and I just fell in love with the learning process. I got to sit with a guy named Mike Williver and listen to him talk about some stuff. We can probably turn up here at that next light. Phil Wong was there teaching. Of course, Dustin Ellerman got to teach us some stuff. Got to draw from a holster for the first time and just fell in love with it. And so after that all happened, I just came home and started taking a class every couple months or so.
Yeah, every few months.
Yeah, and last year when I went full-time with John in January, part of the deal was, if I'm going to quit my day job, I need to really get trained. I was already, I think, pretty good, probably above average. But, when we go to classes and there are all the big names in the industry are there, and I'm a pretty small fish in that pond, right? And so when I'm standing next to John Johnston or Kirk Clark, these guys that are like world-class shooters, I am a nobody, and I feel like, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so, so I told John, I'm like, I'm going to get 100 hours of training in 2021, or in 2020. And then then COVID hits, and I've just quit my full-time job. I have no benefits, because we're working as, with ASP, and we don't have a great benefit package yet.
Right.
But so I'm trying to decide, my job is calling me, hey, we need help, and I'm like, I don't think I can go back. But so I didn't. I signed up for a range master class and took a couple of those, and then
Tom Gibbons, right?
Yeah, so I took his basic 3-day instructor class. Did pretty good in that. Took his shotgun instructor class. Also took his advanced instructor class last year.
We're in someone's neighborhood, so
let's go this way. Okay. My buddy Murray lives right there.
Gotcha. Because we went from a commercial area to a residential area.
Yeah, we're not gonna have to use a gun here. Okay, so we're in good shape. This is a nice little neighborhood. Well, maybe. That's Murray's house. If anybody saw the number.
I'll get the dash cam. We'll zoom right in.
Yeah, the greenhouse. Go for it.
Perfect.
No, I took classes, and then I really worked hard on the dry fire stuff.
Yeah.
And I had taken a Gabe White class the year before. Have you ever?
Gabe White? No.
So Gabe White he's the turbo pin guy. So he's got the light pin, the dark pin, and the turbo pin system. So depending on how you perform in his class, your dark pin is the lowest, and you got to be a shooter to earn a dark pin. Not everybody goes and earns one of those.
Yeah.
And I snuck under the radar and got a dark pin the first time I took his class. And so last year, when I got really serious about this, I called him and I told him, hey, I want to suck less this year.
I want to suck less. I like that.
And so he's like, all right, cool. So he wrote me a training regimen. Said, if you do this stuff,
here's your practice schedule.
You will suck less. He's like, I don't know what it'll do. I don't know what degree it'll get you to. And I'm like, do you mind if I make some videos about it for the channel? And he's like, yeah, go for it. And so I made a 6-week video series called the Suck Less Challenge. and invited people to do the stuff with me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know if this is going to work. I'm making all these videos before I take the class, and they're going live. You know, that's one of the
real-time shit.
Yeah, one of the things I really like about the Active Self-Protection Extra channel, when we go shoot, the misses go up. There's no, you know, I can't remember ever going, oh, we're not putting that up.
Right.
You know, I mean, we're real there. You know, we're not cutting any frames out to speed things up. If there's a miss, there's a miss, and that's who we are. Yeah. And I think that's one of the draws to the channel, is we're just pretty real with who we are there. And so I did this deal, and we called it Suck Less Saturday. And I'm like, okay, so every Saturday for the next 6 weeks, I'm going to give you a lesson. You're going to follow it for the next week, and the next Saturday we're going to change the lesson plan a little bit, and we're going to progress through this stuff. And I don't know if it's going to work. So I showed up at Gabe's class. Yeah. And it worked. I got you get basically Gabe's class. You get 8 runs at pins, and you get a pin with your 4 best runs. Okay. I mean, there's a lot more to it, but I earned my light pin in my first 4 runs. And then, and Gabe is a super cool guy, and he's like, well, I guess now it's 0 or hero, you got to go for the turbo stuff for the last 4. And as soon as I lost my focus on the process and started focusing on the outcome, the world fell apart. Wow. For the next 2. And then I'm like, well, I already got my light pin, but I'm just going to go back to focusing on the process. My last 2 runs were great. I mean, I got. We're going to go straight to turn right. I think let's turn left. Turn left. We need to know there's a big truck behind us. Yeah, we're almost back to where we started. Cool. It's a big circle. So, what do you think of our town? It's not my town.
I don't think it's so bad. I don't know what to expect.
This was rated like the #1 city in the country a few years ago by like Forbes as a place to live and raise a family.
It seems. I mean, it's not. There's no tall buildings. It seems like just a.
No income tax.
But it's 99 degrees.
It is. And in about 5 months, it's going to be like 30 below. So,
all right, there's that. That's a little extreme, dude. We have days in the 90s in New England, and the humidity sucks.
Oh, yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah, I think it's early enough that the humidity... In August, it will be 90 degrees with humidity, and that's miserable.
Yeah, we get those in July. And then we get, you know, when it's 13 degrees outside for 4 months.
Right, yeah.
You know, and then snow.
Yep. So,
although I will say this, as much as there are things that I don't enjoy about Massachusetts, we do have all 4 seasons. Like, it's hot in the winter.
Yep.
Or it's hot in the summer, and it's cold in the winter, and I like neither of those. So it's
yep.
You know, I like the spring. I like sleeping with the windows open, a little chill in the air.
Sure.
And I like warm-ish days, where there's not a lot of humidity, and then cool nights. Yeah. Well, where has that?
I don't think you're that much different.
Yeah.
We are. It's just probably the timing of everything. And this is like record heat wave right now for this time. I mean, this is like a record hot day.
Great.
So you timed it right.
Perfect.
Welcome to.
Wonderful. I went to Nashville to interview Hickok 45, and when I'm there, they had a snowstorm, and like people don't drive. And I talked to Hickok. I'm like, so what are you guys doing? It snows down here. He's like, oh, we just wait for it to melt. It's gonna be gone the next day. We just wait.
Oh jeez.
Nashville was a ghost town. When I was there.
Ugh.
But oof.
Oh, hello.
Hello. All right, so I got to tell you this. The one of the things, you know, I follow you and John on the Facebook, and he talks all the time about how he does 100 hours a year of training, and I'm like, oh man, I should do something like that. Like maybe not 100 hours, because that's a lot.
It is a lot,
and it gets costly. But I'm like, I should do a couple classes. So the Robin Sandoval from A Girl and a Gun, she came to New Hampshire to bring some of her Girl and a Gun girls to the SIG Academy. And I'm like, all right, SIG Academy's really not that far. And the Handgun 101 classes, if you want to take any classes at SIG, you have to go through Handgun 102, 103, 101, 102, 103, 104. And the Handgun 101 class wasn't much more than I charge for classes. So I'm like, all right, I get one student. It's kind of the price of the class.
Yep.
I'm going to do it. I talked a buddy of mine into it. And they give you a coupon. They give you your certificate with a coupon on the back of it. And the coupon's good for 10% off. So by the time we went to bed after the first night, we signed up for Handgun 102.
You don't have to buy a timeshare there, though, right?
We don't have to.
There's some
there are some places where you might have to buy a timeshare.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh my God. Yeah, no timeshare.
I've heard the SIG Academy is some high level training too. Some good quality. I mean, I think as you go through the ranks of their stuff.
Yeah, I've done Handgun 101, 102, 103. I've been shooting for 20 years, and I've been an instructor for a while and stuff. And I don't do any cool high-end stuff. Like I want to be at the top of the funnel and bring more people into it and get more people shooting. And and I always tell them, I say, listen, if you know, I'm not going to teach you how to hang up upside down out of a helicopter and shoot an AR, but when you find that class, I'm like,
those are fun.
Get 2 spots.
Yeah,
that sounds totally cool.
Yep.
So I wanted to pick up some things. I hate to admit that I always have a hard time explaining to people how to rack the slide back, push the slide stop up, and let go. And it's not that I have a hard time explaining it. People will put their thumb on the slide stop, they'll push it up, they'll let it down. Yep. Then they pull the slide back and they let it go, and it goes forward. Now, well, it didn't work. Right. You put your right thumb, put your left hand back, push your right thumb up, let your left hand go. And so I'm like, what do? They must be doing something smarter than I am. And so I took the Handgun 101 class, and then I did the 102 class. There was something I got out of 102. There was something I got out of 103, which was cool. And I did what did I do? I did an AR class up there as well. Oh, okay. And the AR class was really cool. I did one AR class before I had an AR, and they use their ARs. Okay. You can't bring your own rifle. And of course I'm like, well, mine doesn't have, like, I don't like the stock. I have an Ace skeleton stock on mine. I'm like, I think it looks cool. But where they have the I can't even come up with the word. Not the harness isn't the right word.
Sling?
The sling. That's it. Okay. The sling attachment on mine is down by the receiver, and the ones that they had are back by the shoulder. Oh yeah. And I'm like, I think I want one of those instead. And then I don't have anything to put the sling on in the front, so I'm like, I gotta get a different. I gotta take the forend off and get a different one. I'm like, boy, that AR class is probably gonna cost a lot more than
I took a Jeff Gonzalez class. Yeah. He does AR stuff. Trident Training, I think is his guy. He is a fun guy. He's a guy that has that. He's a former Navy SEAL.
God bless him.
He's got that. A lot of ex-military guys are not great trainers. They're not great with civilians.
They're not really people.
Yeah, they're not. And Jeff is he cracks just the right amount of jokes.
Just the right amount. That's cool.
And I don't mind somebody coming and telling me how much I suck. I mean, I literally host a show called Suck Less Saturday. Right.
And so your face is on it.
And I'm like, I clearly
I want to suck less.
I'm a 50-year-old man. I don't know anything about ARs. I show up to this class. I'm like, hey, I know I suck at this. And he's like, well, I'll be the judge of that. And then after like 5 shots, he's like, you're right. You do. And I'm like, all right. That's encouraging. We just became best friends. Can you help me suck less? And he's like, absolutely. Oh my gosh. So we, and it's been so. But to your point, it got really expensive really fast when I had to go home and get all the right gear. Right. Because we don't know what the heck we're doing. And
right. And it's yeah.
Yep. So
yeah.
But
this is totally cool, man. So what are you doing this year for training?
So Mag 40 this year.
Mag 40.
I will not get near as much this year as I did last year. I've got a Mag 40. Of course, I'm going to go back to Gabe White and go for a turbo pin.
Cool.
That typically runs in October. John Johnston runs a class called Test and Standards that I really thoroughly enjoy.
There's a turning lane?
I don't think he does.
Are those Utah plates?
No, that's South Dakota. That's the one. Mind. So in South Dakota, the counties are all numbered.
Okay.
So Minnehaha County is where we are, and so that's one county. So they're local. That's a Rapid City car because that's 2 county. So that's West River. So everybody will look at them like those are the redneck people. I can't believe that guy's not wearing a cowboy hat. Those are all cowboys over there.
Okay.
So there's a huge rivalry.
He might could be going to Walmart because it looks like he's in his pajamas.
Yeah.
So we're not.
Yeah. He hasn't shaved this year. Anyway.
Oh my God.
I'm not sure that was a he. That person hasn't shaved though. But it could have. But anyway, so South Dakota, the Missouri River runs right through this middle of the state. So there's the east side and the west side.
Gotcha.
And I grew up on the west side of the river. And
It's like the Jets and the Sharks.
yeah, and so this is where all the business and commerce happens, and it's mostly farm ground and grassland out on the west side.
Gotcha.
Although the west side has the Black Hills. And Mount Rushmore is over there.
Right, that's only what, 6 short hours away?
Yeah, but that's the pretty side of the state. On this side of the state, if you get out of the city a little ways, you can like hop up on a molehill and you can see like 100 miles. It's just so flat.
Wow.
It's just ridiculous.
I gotta find one of those.
Yeah, yeah. But
I gotta find one.
You want to turn.
I'm gonna turn left.
You're gonna turn
All right.
left.
Are we almost where we need to be?
We're close.
Yeah, we're close.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, let's wrap things up.
Okay. So how many of these shows have you done?
I can't say that.
Why?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know?
No, I
it's
don't.
not. Is it a secret? Or
It's not a secret. I have, as of today, I've put out 106 shows.
Wow.
106, maybe 107, I think. 107.
I am just tickled to do this. So I will tell these guys the story. So I consider myself a nobody in this whole world, right? I really do. I've worked real. I feel like
how many people follow ASB?
Like a couple million, but that's John, right?
Right.
I'm the marketing guy. And I get my face on it. It is super weird. Do you get recognized ever? You've been in like an airport and somebody walk up and ask you?
No.
That when it happens, it's like exhilarating and weird and nerve-wracking at the same time.
So there are a few people in the class. So we're doing the Mag 40 class in Sioux Falls with a lot of the Polite Society people folks, Polite Society podcast folks, and they're like, I don't know, it's 4 of us, 5 of us.
Yeah. Turn left at the light.
Okay. And we it's totally cool. So other people are taking the class. I don't want to say I don't like telling people who I am, but I'm not going to tell people who I am.
Right.
I'll be like, I got a little, this was really. Can I turn? I can take a left on this?
Yes.
Look at this. There's a red light and a flashing yellow arrow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? So this was really cool. I went to Florida Carry had an event this year, and I went down to it, and I went up to Eric Pratt from Gun Owners of America, and I'm like, I don't know if I've met him before. I know I met his father, but I don't know if I've met him. And so I went up. I'm like, hi, my name's Charlie. I got a little show, Come Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Let me have you on sometime. And he's like, little show, and I'm like, okay, does he know something I don't know? Because it's just a little show,
right?
But Eric Pratt seemed to know about it, so I'm like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, it is a cool show. So I got invited to speak at AMMcon, which I'm not even.
Oh my God, he speaks at this.
Yeah.
He speaks at it's the Alternative Multimedia Conference.
That's right.
It's the day before the Second Amendment Foundation Gun Right Policy Conference.
Right.
And it's the bloggers and video folks and podcasters, and we get together and we talk about how here's things you can do to make some changes and improvements, and here's how you can work all this stuff.
Right. And so I get invited. So Paul Lathrop and Susan are.
Yep.
Kind of
the one they finagle everything and run all the
and they live here
media.
in Sioux Falls.
They do.
And we've gotten to be friends over the years because we're neighbors, and so we're gonna take it right here.
Right.
And so they asked John to come speak as a ginormous YouTube guy, and me to come talk about marketing stuff. And I'm like, I think that was the first time I've ever been asked to speak.
Really?
And maybe the only time, because
and
I don't know. Apparently, I guess I got invited back, so maybe I did okay. Right?
Awesome.
But so we get to this thing and get in the other lane, and then we're gonna turn left to about 3 lights up. And so you got up and spoke, and you had this whole multimedia thing. You showed your cameras in the car and all this stuff, and I'm like, that is so cool. And I'm like, that is the neatest thing I've ever seen. I love this thing. And I'm telling John at the time, I'm like, dude, I want to go do that. That would be super fun. And then you posted something about, I want to do one in every 50 states.
Yeah.
And so not too long after that, Amanda Suffolk and I were on the phone over some other stuff, and I was like, hey, do you know this Charlie guy? Because I want to go do that. I really do.
Dude, I'm thinking to myself, am I that unapproachable that people just can't come up and be like, hey, listen, you know, listen,
but I'm a nobody. So
right, I'm a nobody. I'm a nobody on a channel, on a YouTube channel that's got millions of viewers.
Oh, this is a turning lane, so you're gonna wanna.
We're gonna stay straight.
Yeah, we're gonna go straight for a couple more lanes.
Yeah. So I was like, so a guy from Active Self-Protection wants to be on my show? Oh, really? Are you sure?
Yeah.
I was at SHOT Show in January 2020. We're in the media room, and John was there. I'm like, all right, I got to go up and say hi to John. Hi, how you doing, John? He's like, we haven't met. I'm like, no, you were at AMMcon and you left. I didn't get a chance to say hi. So yeah, so we got to speak at AMMcon. It was really cool, and I'm glad that we can make this happen. Yeah. I have had at the Mag 40 class, I did have some people that are coming up that are like, oh wait, you're Charlie from Riding Shotgun with Charlie, right? Yeah, I am. One of the guys that's taken the class, who I've been filming shows with on the way to the class, is Rob Beckman from the Firearm Trainers podcast.
Yep.
And so he told us, like, we went to dinner the first night we were here with his wife, and
okay, I think we're turning it in here.
All right. So we went to dinner with his wife, and so he told me today, like right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. Said the boot barn.
The boot barn.
Yeah.
There we go.
Boots while you're here.
Yeah. Some cowboy boots.
Yeah.
Is that what they call them? Cowboy.
There's a whole barn full of boots here.
It's a whole barn full.
And it's a brand new one because the tornado went through here like 2 years ago, and this whole place was leveled.
Oh, that's nice.
So this is all brand new.
That's pretty wild. So anyway, so Rob's telling his wife, and he's like, yeah, this is Charlie, and she's like, is that the real Charlie from Riding Shotgun? This is the first time anyone has said, is it the real Charlie?
Really?
But it is pretty cool when people come up and like, hey, I've seen your show.
Oh, yeah.
We had one guy in the class, he turned around, he talked to me and Amanda, and Rob and Sandoval were all sitting together. He's like, I just want to say, I love watching all you guys' video. And I'm like, thanks.
Isn't it cool?
I'm like, wait, was he, which one of us was he talking to?
Who was he talking to?
Was he talking to us or that?
Yeah.
Or, I mean, is he going to talk to the girls or is he going to talk to me?
Right, exactly. Because I'm kind of a big deal if you didn't know that. That's how you have to just go with it at some point. But
there we go. All right, listen, we need to wrap things up. You're going to look in this camera because these other two cameras are dead. I don't know if they're overheated or the battery ran out. How can people find all the ASP stuff?
Mostly on YouTube. So there's Active Self-Protection. That's our main channel, one trick pony thing that has a lesson every day, and then 3 extra badge cams a week. We do extra ones on Monday, Wednesday, Friday in the evening, which is all badge cam stuff. So it's police
badge cam
related.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And then we've got Active Self-Protection Extra, which is it's our smaller channel. It's still right out 160,000. And so what we say is we teach mindset on the main channel. So here's the things to look for, and then we teach skill set on the extra channel. So here's how you do it. So Suck Less Saturday is every Saturday. Here's something you can do to suck less.
That's like a public one?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
And so it grew from the whole Gabe White thing into now I have, I've had Cecil Birch, I've had, Scott Jedelinsky, all these big name guys come in and they're like, hey, here's something that you can do to suck less, and it's really fun.
That's cool.
So I'm hoping that I get a couple of those done tomorrow with some of the people in this class.
Oh, very cool.
So maybe you can do one of those with me.
Whatever I need to do, let me know.
We have the thing that I'm kind of known for is the dry fire stuff. So we've got the ASP Dry Fire Challenge on Facebook, which is a private group. There's about 3,500 people in there, and we do weekly challenges on dry fire.
That's awesome.
And we have some sponsors that get involved and give some stuff away. So
cool.
Range Tech timers, Mantis stuff, palm pepper spray, those kind of things, just to kind of make it interesting and fun. And cool. That's where I really interact with a lot of people. And so those are
But you still think you're nobody.
So can I tell one more story? A really fast one. Okay, so last time I'm in Phoenix for the Jeff Gonzalez class, I'm leaving with my AR. And I get to the ticket counter, and the ticket lady is like, you can't fly with that ammo. You can't fly with that illegal gun. And I'm like, that's not an illegal gun. And she's like, so she literally calls a cop on me.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, this is a legal gun. And I had a mag with ammo in it, which is also okay with the TSA if you've got it packed away correctly.
Okay.
Everything is correct by the book. I'm literally showing it to her, and she's like, you're not flying with that gun.
Oh my God.
And so she calls the cop, and the cop comes over.
Cop comes over, he's like,
and he
hey,
looks at it, and he's like,
you're Neil from ASP.
well, not yet, because I had a mask on. And so he's like, he literally looks at his watch, and he's like, come with me. And so we walk down the thing, and I'm like, am I in trouble? What's going on?
This is it,
I'm
man.
panicking, right? And we walk into there's a police station in Sky Harbor.
Yeah.
We walk into the police station, and he's like, her shift is over in 5 minutes.
Oh my God.
He's like, and they're all sitting in there eating their dinner. And he's like, have a Coke. And so he literally hands me a Coke, and I take my mask off, and that's when he's like, you are Neil. And so then we spent the next 20 minutes doing selfies.
And then her shift was over.
And then her shift was over, and he went and checked in, and away I went. So,
that's awesome.
So yeah, I'm a farm kid from South Dakota, and so I do. I feel like a nobody. It is pretty cool to get recognized. It's kind of fun.
That is badass.
But that's what pushes me to keep going. So I think I'm pretty well known for the dry fire stuff. But at the end of the day, I suck too. So I'm just trying to suck less.
Saturdays,
right?
I love it.
There you go.
All right, listen, man. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. If you'd like to support the show and help get the Stagecoach across America, buy some stickers and patches. These are for you.
Oh, buy 2 of them.
Buy 2.
Because I'm stealing these.
Pam. Here, take 2. Take 2, they're small.
Oh, cool.
You got like 12 kids or something, so yeah. I can't really help you all the way out, but...
Most of them don't live at home anymore.
Oh, that's
so cool.
Deal.
Thanks, bro.
Listen, man, thank you for watching the show. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please check out the Second Amendment Foundation, saf.org. You can check out the Self-Defense Radio Network, sdrn.us. It is all your favorite, all of your pro-freedom podcasts in one place. What else? You can watch the show on YouTube, on Gunstreamer, on the OpsLens app. You can listen to the show in podcast form on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on iHeartRadio. And thanks for share this with people, and we'll get the Stagecoach across America.
Giddy up.